Welcome to game number 2 in this best of 5. Let's build the CC in base. Dayshi taking notes and learning from his mistakes already. Curse the wretched 99 out of 100. Alright, well, I'm Rifkin, joined today by Zombie Grub. Guys, you're watching the Showmatch series from the Money Peak, of course, and let's not forget, Nog is also throwing in some money today, so combination subscribers from Base Trade TV, combination of your generous donations, and an actual bona fide sponsor have all put these matches together. This is the first Showmatch of 3 today, guys. There's all TVZ, so if you're a Protoss lover, my apologies and sympathies go out to you, but we got some awesome games in store for sure. To get this one started, though, in the lower left corner of the map from the Team Exile 5, it's gonna be Pig.
And the bottom right, as the orange Terran, it is Millennium's Dayshi. Spawning horizontal. Doesn't really matter on this map, does it?
I guess not so much. I mean, it's when it comes, like, actually, what I'm really curious about is if Dayshi's gonna play as greedy or not. I mean, this is a perfect map to get away with the CC first, and looks like that's what he's opening with. But will he go for the third CC? I wonder. We've seen some players, like, it's the rare occasion a Terran player can actually afford to get away with it, but I wouldn't honestly like if he did that against a player like Pig. Against some random ladder guy, maybe, sure, but against Pig?
Well, that's what he did last time, so...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Why
like,
not do it again?
We'll see. Of course, for Pig, this is a huge map, guys. Like, in the context of StarCraft 2 right now, this is the biggest map in the map pool. There are 20 bases in total. And even on, like, I don't know, a short fuse, this game can still be pretty fun. If you guys remember, actually, not too long ago, we had, what was it? Select versus Zerg Zing Zing. I don't think a single siege tank nor a single swarm host was made, and we still had, like, an hour-long match on this map.
Yeah. Yes, that was them. That was pretty good. I forgot who actually ended up winning. I think it was Select.
Yeah. And those are kind of like the best matches, I feel, too. Like, when there's a lot of trading going on for extended periods of time, you don't have someone just let her sit back and deathball to an extreme.
Yeah. We do actually have Pig going for that 3-hatch-4 pool again, so both of them just agreeing to, like, play really, really greedy. Hopefully this time Pig will remember to go ahead and get those upgrades. We did focus a lot on the upgrades last game, so we kind of didn't pay attention like how many mistakes Dayshi was making, but when you really think about it, his third got canceled. That attack that made his third already so late pretty much got cleaned up without doing a whole lot of damage, and he consistently took bad engagements in the middle of the map, right? You know, usually without upgrades that would like even out, I feel, but that's why
it's weird. Yeah, like I'm still got my brain wrapped around the fact that upgrades or no upgrades worked out for Pig the way they did, but Banelings are volatile, and I guess the reality is, like, upgrades or not, 2 Banelings are still gonna kill a clump of Marines if they can connect.
Yes, that's true, and I don't know. I mean, like, you've never ever seen it, but like 3 armor versus no attack on a Baneling, does that affect it at all?
I think it still takes 2. I could be wrong. With combat shields, it might not. Because it's 35, right? To biological?
Oh, don't want to do math.
I don't know what it is off the top of my head because I'm not a Zerg player, but I think it's like 35. Either way, it's still going to take a lot. It's about how much splash damage goes out there. Like, that's really where upgrades come into effect for StarCraft 2. Like, it's not about like the 1 Baneling connected to 1 Marine. It's about the 1 Baneling connected to 1 Marine and splashing like the other 9 that are nearby. But again, I don't think that'll be a problem. Pig, of course, kind of said, like, I forgot my upgrades, and Dayshi was cursing the command center. So they both know, like, what went wrong in that first game. Even though Pig won, he still realizes he messed up. SCV in full retreat here as he was trying to scatter on the map. How much did Dayshi get to see, actually? Just the third, okay. Small note too, just unrelated to this, guys. I see a lot of you talking about in chat. I know GameHard is an unfamiliar looking interface for some. I personally prefer it because you get a lot more information from it. You can see down here, resources lost. I'm sorry, somewhere in there. First blood. You can see resources lost down here when we don't have anything selected. You can see income at all times. You can see worker counts. You can see army supply. I love it. That's why we use it. But of course, so people are fully aware, the stronger team color mods, like the reason these things look a little more vibrant is because that's an option we've enabled as observers. The players actually can't see this. This looks like a normal game of StarCraft 2 to them. So they don't, they're not affected by this mod at all. They can't see the player logos or anything like that.
Did he see that starport? He did see that starport, and the tech lab was right next to it. So he knows that Banshee's going to be on the way. He's not quite sure if they're going to have Cloak or not. But, I mean, just get a support caller anyways, honestly. which he'll
yeah,
be doing in probably a few seconds.
yeah, and it was last game too. It's not like he built that Spore Crawler because he was expecting Medivacs. Like, that was just a safety Spore Crawler. Hellions getting to the main. Are getting for a couple of these drones up. Getting some pretty decent kills here. He's getting value for the Hellions at the very least. 4 have gone down so far. If we can kill a couple more, that'll be really nice, but these Hellions are incredibly low.
Yeah. Maybe watching a little bit of WCS EU today, where Chachi did the exact same thing. Just sent in 2 Hellions and actually got quite a bit of kills. But that's Chachi. You know, I wanted to like tell the casters that, like, look, bro, we casted him once, and like his Hellion's always a damage. So.
Oh, yeah, it's like, you're that viewer. It's like, hey, we casted this guy that one time. I saw him play a game once, and he did this, okay? So we're experts.
It was one day, but it was like 8 games, all right?
Yeah, I don't like that's the way it feels too. Like when we cast a lot of like whether it's go for StarCraft, Zotac, IEM, like because Joxy's a badass, we end up following him around because we know he'll do well, and we kind of like inadvertently become very accustomed to the way he plays because of it. Of course, actually, small nod to Dayshi is you will see Dayshi pop up in the odd Zotac cups and go for StarCraft weeklies from time to time. Pig kind of restricted by his time zone, sadly.
Did you see how perfectly timed that Spore Crawler was?
Yeah, it came like just as the Banshee arrived.
What the? It was like he knew like the exact times for this exact spawn too. Like, geez.
I think that was luck. I don't think it was like him saying, all right, if I wait exactly 4 seconds, this will spawn.
There are some really cerebral players that would probably think like that though. But
I love Pig, but I don't think he's one of them.
Yeah, I wouldn't say, you know, he actually focuses, he does a lot of blogs and stuff that I think are really cool, and he focuses on like his mindset and all, but he's never been one of like the mathematicians. Like that's more like QXC.
Actually, yeah, small nod to Pig, guys. He's been doing a lot of free coaching like over the past like several months. So at the very least, win or lose today, if you're a Zerg player, you should absolutely check out his stream. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head, so I'll get the link for once we're done with the series. But yeah, he tweets about it all the time. He's offering free coaching from time to time. He's just a really nice guy, like in all honesty. But, Banshee's really not getting a whole lot done here, unfortunately, for Dayshi, but the nice thing is if you can keep these alive, they're great for engagements later on. Whether it's picking off banelings, whether it's shooting at roaches, just trying to keep your Hellions alive a little bit longer. But Pig, I gotta give a comment, like, his creep spread right now is pretty good. Like, Dayshi's had Hellions out, but the creep spread's still like a good quarter way across this massively insane map. On any other map, this would probably be about the halfway point. But of course, here in Ultrazeum, it's a bit bigger.
I'm kind of disappointed with how little. Oh, that's what this is weird. With how little Dayshi was doing with his Banshees and Hellions, but I guess he was waiting to do this really big frontal attack. It's already too late though. Pig literally almost like just made those Lings and Banelings, so very ill-timed, ill-fated for Dayshi. Loses about everything.
That was cute, actually. I like that he went back to tag the Banelings there specifically, because of course Banelings are such a pain to deal with. You gotta keep that number low at all times. But as we see, upgrades for both players actually timing out almost exactly the same moments here.
I just, you know, he like didn't really, he did the scan, but his Hellions weren't really moving around. And I feel like with 3 Banshees with Cloak, you can usually do a lot of damage. In fact, you can usually cancel like a 4th. And he like was attacking it and then he went over and like didn't do it anymore. And now he has 3 Banshees, which do they ever really do anything?
He was going for worker kills, which
he's got 14.
It's not enough to make it viable, but if he had maybe found one of the bases without a Spore Crawler, then he could have killed a whole worker line. He could have killed the queens, but unfortunately, Pig was pretty safely played. Spore Crawlers everywhere, and not a lot of damage got done. But now 3 Banshees on the hunt. Unfortunately for him, the timing is that Mutalisks are on the way, and I gotta tell you, Zombie like, lag is one thing. I've cast Dayshi quite a few times in the past. Like, he is normally, like, the king. And I think a lot of people really expect him to just run all over Pig, but even in this game, like, I'm sitting here questioning, like, is he gonna be okay? Like...
Yeah, I don't know. He can definitely take on these queens, though. That's actually what I expected him to do, but not with the Mutalisk. Yep, they're gonna run away. They're actually just gonna die.
Yeah, loses one of the Banshees here, might lose the other. The Overseer's a little bit too slow to completely chase these bags, so Widowmine pushing forward here with a lot of Marines will secure some ground, but of course with all of this creep and the tumors, like, he needs to clean this up. Because for Pig right now, he sees everything that's going on. Like, it's basically map hacks enabled.
It's very good. And you don't even relate about the southern half of the map either, because the rocks are always blocking, but that could actually be a very good avenue of attack for Dayshi if he wants to, you know, actually drop, because not that many overloads over there, but also just have another avenue that isn't covered by creep. He is starting to clean it up, and he's staying on the edge. You know, Widowmine Bio usually isn't one that you stay on the edge. You can, honestly, because eventually Pig is going to say, okay, this is the time I'm going to attack, and then Dayshi's going to have to show his splitting magic.
Some decent connects so far, nothing too insane. Widowmine hit does go off on Lings, unfortunately, instead of Banelings. Dayshi, of course, a little far away from his Medivacs. These need to retreat. Marines are, of course, in full retreat as well, so Baneling's giving good chase. There's enough Mutalisks here to clear up the medevacs, but not take the Marines head on. Widowmine hit was pretty darn good, but as we see, Pig just able to overwhelm Dayshi once again. And Dayshi, well, he's got a little bit behind this, but he's not exactly funneling in with a ton of reinforcements. The Banshees are going to work here at the third, and looks like he did clear up quite a few drones while this was going on. But unfortunately, it looks like the Spore Crawler trying to burrow will drive Dayshi back for the time being.
Yeah. 2-2 is about to finish for both players. I'm not sure Pig. I think Pig's like finished after the fight happened, but you know, it's a lot of. That actually went pretty well for both players. I mean, the supply is still very much so where you'd want to be as a Terran player. You know, you might be a little behind, but
I'm really worried for Dayshi. Actually, like there's just this overwhelming amount of Banelings sitting outside of his base again. Like unless he gets some really good Widowmine hits. Oh no!
Okay,
Not even burrowed. Okay. This is really bad. Clumped up with all these Marines, he can't just run down the ramp, and he knows this. So coming in funneled a little bit at a time. Actually handles this pretty good for how poorly that engage started. He handles this pretty well. A couple SCVs gonna go down here. A couple more Banelings trying to roll into that SCV line. One Baneling's not that big of a threat.
Yeah. That was actually, I would almost say messed up by Pig, because those Banelings were in that mineral line. I was like watching it going, ugh, and they never got to explode on them. So you know, that would have been what his attack wanted to do, and then he would have gotten out with the rest of his Banelings. Instead, nothing really happens. And now I feel like Daishi's in a really good position. Like, all Banelings is really, really scary as a Terran player, especially when you lose your big Widowmines like that. But it wasn't the 200 to 130 supply that
the
last one was.
Well, a couple Banelings going to pop out here in the main. Try and help deal with these Mutalisks. Of course, some Marines stemming back too. But again, Pig just getting in here, gutting those workers and getting out. It's not exactly a devastating loss for SCVs. Not the end of the world. But again, it's something that Pig is going to be able to do thanks to the mobility of these Mutalisks that Daishi's not going to be able to respond to easily. And he's building a turret, but like one turret doesn't shut down Mutalisks. Like, that's the frustrating reality of it.
In these positions, since really the avenue attack for Mutalisk is pretty much one.
It's only from the left. Yeah, like having a turret wall actually would be really nice.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I feel like this is a map with these positions that a turret wall would actually be like your savior. But unfortunately, Dayshi not quite realizing that, or you know, he's too busy doing other stuff as he is actually playing the game. Always so easy to critique as a caster, but he's pushing forward, and he has quite a good army already back up to max. The Pig's Mutacut's actually pretty good, and +2 is about to finish for them, but he is trying to get up to that hive, which you usually want to. It's a time of survival right now for Pig.
It's kind of interesting too, because this is a scenario where both players, they've got like 77 of their supply donated into like workers. Like usually someone's on like 50 and they got like a little bit of an army edge compared to the Zerg player who's on like 70 or something like that. But no, with a dead-on engagement even like this, it's a little bit scary for Pig, because on one hand, he's got Banelings, and that's going to be great at neutralizing Daishi's army, but their units, they get used up upon their attack. Like, you can't use them again for round 2, so there won't be a follow-up to this. Spreading his Marines quite nicely, it's not an overwhelming amount of Banelings in this, and the Mutalisks they're trying to do what they can, but the Marine count is looking pretty darn good. He holds this first attack pretty decently. Most of the Mutalisks went down, though, unfortunately for Pig, and that's really where the core of that loss was.
Yeah, most of the Widowmines actually did not go off, so that actually went really well for Dayshi. Again, considering these Widowmines weren't too useful. Pig does take down a couple of medevacs, and he keeps a lot of the Lings alive, so, you know, the immediate push is not going to happen for Dayshi.
I feel like 13 medevacs is really pushing it here. He's going to have 15 in total. Like, this is actually a large portion of his army supply, guys, that can't do damage, that will be quote-unquote ineffective. There's kind of like diminishing returns on having your medevacs out, because at a point you're not going to have enough damage to stop the Mutalisks, and they'll eventually sweep through everything.
That's a good point. He definitely has to stop now. Definitely now. But he usually used to losing them.
I guess that's a good point too. That's why he's reducing them, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, again, Pig trying to get up to that 3-3. Daishi's is already finished. It's not uncommon, but it is a little scary. For Pig goes in again. A lot of Banelings are connecting. Still
I like
has
that he's
big
keeping them away
count.
from the Marauders. Like, he's intentionally microing them away from the Marauders, so he doesn't waste the hits on them. But
he does not have a big meter count. I'm sorry. I thought that was like only half.
No,
his
he lost
he 12. Yeah.
Yeah, he lost 18 in that previous engagement. That's what I was like, oh my god, about. But even still, as we see, giving full chase, this Widowmine's actually going to hurt more than help, as it does splash damage these medevacs a bit. I wish Pig would turn around and focus them. There we go. Now focusing on the medevacs, starting to pick those up. Actually helps Dayshi a little bit in that regard, I guess, but Dayshi, of course, replenishing his medevacs with relative ease. We got Burrow coming out. Baneling burrows. Okay, so Baneling mines are kind of a really tricky thing to pull off, because first off, you could never really put them on creep. If you do, a Terran player scanning the creep to kill creep dreamers anyways, they'll scan your banelings. But because Dayshi's had actually a surprising amount of map control for these weird engagements, it's going to be very difficult for Pig to actually get anything off of creep to burrow to set up those landmines.
Yeah. Dayshi has scouted the 5th base, and is going to try and go and attack it, but it's going to be well defended. That's one thing that's really worrying about this game is like Pig's holding on, but you know he's slowly taking the worst engagements.
Like
he has the lower
out.
supply. Yeah, it's bleeding.
But he's on his way to 3-3. He's got adrenal glands coming out. It's not like he's stuck on that layer tech. So, I mean,
yeah.
he is quote unquote evolving to overcome this problem. But medevacs are being focused down by the Mutalisk once again. A couple decent Widowmine hits will go off towards the end of this fight, but of course, again, Pig will eventually clean this up. Dayshi has got to keep these medevacs alive. Actually, gonna take the advantage here with a small amount of Marines. I guess just barely out of banelings.
Yeah, really would have loved to have, you know, taken an attack when he had all those upgrades. I mean, look at the upgrades; they're so close to finishing, all at the same time too.
Yeah.
But what's really worrying is not like supply, which I mean that's worrying too, but is the fact that Pig has never been able to do any type of counterattacks. You know, 5 minutes ago he did that one muted thing, and then
like
other than that, Dayshi has been completely fine. He's going to be on 7 command centers, you know, on 4 bases. It's Dayshi's game right now. You know, supply aside, it's Dayshi's game.
It really is. The biggest part of it too is just like his ability to control the map more than anything else. And banelings, wow, 47 versus light with level 3 upgrades, so they do hit pretty darn hard. Will still take 2. So there's your math for you guys: 2 to kill a Marine. Should talk about that a little bit earlier, but it's curious too. We actually have Dayshi investing in the armor. I like this a lot, actually. This is for the medevacs, guys, more than anything else. You sometimes see weapons get increased if there's like siege tanks, if there's going to be, I don't know, Thors or something involved, but instead, because he's relying primarily on medevacs and widow mines, I actually really like the armor upgrades for the vehicles.
Yeah, that was something people identified, you know, fairly early on in Heart of the Swarm, which is pretty good. Oh, nice scanting on all those drones. Thought he was going to get sneaky with that. But,
that's a graveyard straight up is what that... They're already burrowed.
Yeah. Oh, a big fight happening in the middle of the map, and it is going
not
so
a lot
well
of
for Pig.
Yeah, there's not a lot of banelings. He can't really afford to take this fight. He needs to pull these Mutalisks back. This is a huge loss for him if he loses these Mutalisks.
He could never get up to a very high number after that. Yeah, it's GG.
Losing the base in the north, too, was way too much. So Dayshi evens it up now, guys, 1-1.
You know what's wrong? Pig got upgrades.
That, you know what? I can't argue with that logic.
It's logic, man. Can't argue.
For anyone who's just tuning in, we make this joke because, of course, in game number 1, Pig forgot upgrades entirely. Sure. Okay, so small update, guys. Dayshi needs a 5-minute break. I'm assuming that's not like literally 5 minutes. Like he's probably just run to the bathroom, get some water, or maybe snag something to snack on real quick. So we will have a bit of a delay going into the next map, but we can still get the map sorted.